Chances are if you care about your mental health, you haven't been on Twitter lately. Isn't it called X now? Anyway, there's been this recent trend of AI artists, and you might be asking, what is an AI artist? Well, basically, an AI artist is someone who gives an AI text-to-image generator a prompt and takes the result and is like, hey guys, look at the art I just made. But if you ask me, AI art isn't real art, and I can prove it. You see, a lot of people want to argue that AI is just a tool that helps people make art, but AI is only a tool depending on how you use it. For example, if you're looking for inspiration for your art and you use an AI text-to-image generator to get an idea of what you want your art to look like, then I could see how that could be a tool. Personally, I prefer to just look up pictures of other people's art to get inspiration for mine, but nevertheless, I see how that could work. But to take the result of what the AI gives you and call that a tool for art, that's silly because that's not a tool, that's a replacement. A tool helps you do the job more efficiently, and a replacement does the job for you. And to give you a clearer idea of what I'm talking about, let's go back in time to the beginning of art. According to artincontext.org, quote, around 500,000 years ago, one of our early ancestors took a shark's tooth and engraved a zigzag pattern onto the surface of a seashell. Although the reason for its creation is unknown, it is considered to be the earliest existing example of art. End quote. The reason for its creation is unknown. They were bored. It was 500,000 years ago. They didn't have TikTok or fidget spinners. They were bored, so they carved a zigzag pattern onto a seashell because the cool S hadn't been invented yet. Anyway, it turns out carving into seashells with a shark's tooth sucks booty cheeks, so instead, tools were invented specifically for art. Tools that help people paint and sculpt, which was great for people willing to take the time to learn it, but if you've ever tried to paint or sculpt, you'd know that it can be quite challenging. So, they invented even more tools to help with making art. In 1795, for example, when Nicolas Jacques Conti, a scientist serving in the army of Napoleon Bonaparte, came up with a process that involved, quote, roasting a mixture of water, clay, and graphite into a kiln at 1,900 degrees Fahrenheit before encasing the resulting soft solid in a wooden surround, end quote, giving us what we now know today as the modern-day pencil. Pencils allowed us to make sketches, which is my favorite kind of art to make, and eventually led to people making animations. I want to clarify that animation like I'm showing here is not the first instance of animation in history. Animation dates back to things like the zoetrope, but that's kind of irrelevant for the video I'm making today, so I'm not going to talk about it. If you're interested in that kind of thing, I would highly recommend the video Animation Before Computers by The Odd Ones Out. He talks about a lot of the stuff I'm getting ready to talk about and so much more, so check it out if you're interested. I'll link it in the description and the info card in the top right corner. Anyway, back to the video. Back in the day, if you wanted to make a hand-drawn animation, you had to sketch a lot. For each frame shown on screen, you would have to slowly draw the subject moving ever so slightly, flipping through your pages to make sure the animation looks smooth. You would then have to redraw every frame of your animation, but this time you would have to paint it onto a cell sheet. A cell sheet is basically a sheet of plastic approximately the size of a piece of paper. A background must also be painted to give the subject something to exist on, and finally you'd have to take a picture of each individual frame you made, thus making an animation. This technique, although intuitive, was costly, time-consuming, and very, very hard to do. In fact, the first feature-length film to be animated with cell sheet animations, Snow White and the Seven Vertically Challenged People, was released 23 years after the technique was patented, and it took 750 artists to make, and as great as the technique was, it was so challenging to do that I'm sure it must have been daunting to get into. So, sometime in the late 90s to early 2000s, couldn't find an exact date, computer animation was the tool to become the industry standard. So instead of drawing and painting a bunch of physical pictures, you can do all of it on your computer, saving time and cutting down on waste. All of these tools revolutionized art, but why bring all of this up? Well, do you think Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, or Leonardo da Vinci would have still made art if the only way of doing it was using a shark's tooth to carve into a seashell? You think people like me who enjoy sketching would still make art if the only way of doing it was chiseling away at a piece of stone or painting on a canvas? Maybe. Do you think people like The Odd Ones Out, Jaden Animations, or Ice Cream Sandwich would still make animations if the only way of doing it was sketching each frame individually, painting each frame onto a cell sheet, painting a background, and then taking a picture for each frame individually? Probably not. All of these tools that have been invented have made art possible for people who may have otherwise never gotten a chance to make it. But how does generative image AI fit into all of this? Well, it doesn't. Generative AI doesn't help people make art, it makes the art for them. All of these things I've mentioned are tools that throughout history gave creative people an outlet they may have otherwise never had. AI is a replacement and not a tool because it doesn't build off the creativity inside you. It takes away creativity by creating the thing for you with the press of a button.
Let me get this straight, you think these AI people calling themselves artists is funny?
I do. And I'm tired of pretending it's not.
Now, some people want to argue that it is a tool because the artist still has to put in work. Said work being typing in prompt after prompt until the AI generates the image the way you wanted it to. And to anyone saying this, draw the other eye. No, seriously, I dare you. Draw a face outline, draw one eye, and then draw the other. Or draw a hand. Just one hand. Because art is so much more than just an idea. It's also intent, and I'll get to that later, but for now, imagine if I came up with an idea for a picture. Let's say I want a picture of a duck with his hat on backwards and he's holding an ice cream cone. But I can't draw, so I go to my friend and I say, hey, could you draw this for me? And they agree and they draw the picture and they give it to me. Who's the artist? Me because it's my idea, or my friend because they drew it? Most people would agree that my friend is the artist, but for some reason people want to argue that they're the artist when it comes to AI art, when in reality no one is. There is no art because there's no intent. And there can't be intent because AI isn't artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is impossible. I mean really, think about a robot character from a movie, TV show, or game you like. C-3PO, for example, is an AI. He thinks, he has emotions, he gets mad, he gets scared, he feels sad, he's conscious. AI is not like that. It doesn't have emotions or consciousness. It's basically a complex program that knows almost all the information on the internet and can spit it back at you. It doesn't make art the way you or I would. When a conscious person wants to make art of a penguin holding a water gun, they do so by knowing what a penguin looks like, knowing what a water gun looks like, and imagining what they might look like together. But when a non-conscious AI is told to make art, it does so by taking all the images it was trained with that are marked penguin and all the images it was trained with marked water gun, and then it merges the idea of them together, and for some reason it gives the penguin a foot for a hand. It doesn't think about the art, it doesn't care about the art. It has no intent. If you ask me, all AI is bad. Oh, I wasn't talking about you guys. Wait, come back! For my final point, I want to clarify that I'm not trying to gatekeep art. I'm not trying to make art something that only the elitist of the elite can make. In fact, I wouldn't really say that I'm the best at art myself. I believe art is something that anyone can make, but AI is not a tool for doing it. And I understand that art is subjective, and something that might look great to me might look like garbage to someone else. And I understand that some people might love this AI-generated picture of Penguin Markiplier with human ears. But to me, there is no subjectivity to AI art because there's nothing there. There's no challenge, no effort, no intent nor purpose. AI art just is, and there's nothing to it but that. Art doesn't have to be perfect or flashy, it doesn't have to be pretty or thought out, it just has to be made by you. Art is the stick man you doodled when you were bored. Art is the sailor hat you made out of a napkin. Art is the let's play you put on YouTube, or the comment you put on this video, or the song you sing to yourself, or the story you write in your head. And if you're an AI artist watching this, I'm not making this to bash or make fun of you, I'm just making this to tell you to pick up a pencil, or a paintbrush, or an instrument. Who knows, you might just surprise yourself with what all you can make. And if you're already an artist watching this, don't let some idiot online tell you your art sucks. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Hopefully this was entertaining and I didn't come off as too ranty. And if you have any counterpoints you want to make, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And lastly, if you enjoyed this video, there's always a button to express that. And if you want to see more, they made a button for that too. But for now, that's all I got. Hasta la bye bye!